Yeah, boy, we kicking it live. Welcome to the new Jet Set Radio. Hold up. Wait a minute. I think I'ma call it, yeah, Jet Set Radio Future. And when I say future, I don't mean all that stuff that Nostradamus wrote. The future is one big blank slate, y'all. And it's up to you to decide what goes on in it.
To think it's really been that long.
20 years. It has been 20 years since Jet Set Radio Future was released on the original Xbox.
I've been playing this game since I was 3 years old. And now I'm almost out of college. How did time go by so fast?
Jet Set Radio Future is a game I hold very close to me in my heart. And it has influenced and impacted my life so much. It's one of the first games I've ever played. Hell, it was one of the first games I was ever dedicated to 100%. I have 48 hours into my 100% save file, which is way more time than I should have in this game, but that's just proof that I just loved it that much. This is one of those games that you play for the first time and it sticks with you forever. Like, when you first boot up Jet Set Radio Future and then you hear the concept of love for the first time, that awakens something in you. That's the soul of the street speaking to you, and ooh, you just never get tired of listening to that song. There's so much about Jet Set Radio Future to talk about that's so amazing about it. The music is a big one. Directed by Hideki Naganuma. Man is a legend. People still listen to Jet Set Radio and Jet Set Radio Future's soundtrack to this day, and they're still amazed at how timeless those songs are. They're just so good, and everyone else who participated in that soundtrack, they did a fantastic job. Every song is so memorable, is so distinct, and they get stuck in your head so easily you just can't forget them. The colorful cast of characters and their designs, they even went the extra mile to give them all distinct personalities with a bunch of character specific interactions, and they didn't have to do that, but they did, and that's what makes the characters in this game stick to me so much more, because they feel a little alive. It may not be a whole lot, but just little interactions in the game that the characters have with each other, I love it. And the gameplay, and yeah, it has aged pretty but I still love playing it regardless despite its age. Like the controls, the objectives, and going through all the amazing and distinct areas that's in the game. I love it still. I'm always having a big smile on my face playing the game and doing all the usual things that I've been doing for 20 years practically. It's just, this is a game I can never get tired of, and it's such a comfort pick that I could just pick up, beat in 3 hours, and say, man, I still love this game. I love Jet Set Radio. It's just unfortunate that we haven't had another one in 20 years. Sure, it's gotten some great representation in the SEGA crossover games that I've spoken about before. We have the cameos here and there, and then we also have the lackluster merch in the SEGA shop. But in terms of a new game, we've gotten nothing. And that's not even the worst part. There's no other way to play Jet Set Radio Future.
No Steam release, no backwards compatibility on the Xbox Series X. If my 360 were to die right now, this would die with it. I would have no other way to play this game. And SEGA won't bother, to be honest. You know, Jet Set Radio doesn't sell for them, so why should they care, right? I doubt they're even going to acknowledge that today is their anniversary, so it is what it is, I suppose.
Despite SEGA ignoring the franchise, there's been one thing that's been keeping Jet Set Radio alive and still in people's memories. The fans. The fan base, while small, is one of the strongest I've ever been in. I've met so many wonderful and talented people in this community, from content creators, musicians, animators, writers, artists, both safe for work and not safe for work. I've seen some amazing things coming from people in the Jet Set Radio community. And it's amazing meeting all these other people who feel similarly about how Jet Set Radio has impacted their lives. And they also want to show their dedication for how much they love Jet Set Radio.
Hey, don't just take my word for it. How about the rudies of the community themselves tell you how much they love Jet Set Radio Future?
Hey, how's it going? I'm Ben. Some of you might know me as FalseProof. I've made a lot of content about Jet Set Radio and Jet Set Radio Future over the years, and Rising Sonic basically asked me to talk about what I love about the series and how I got into it all. So, when I was a kid, I didn't actually have an original Xbox, but my babysitter actually bought the combo disc bundle, and that was the first time I ever experienced Jet Set Radio Future, probably like a lot of other people. And I mean, just right away, it's a very striking game. I think just in general, the visuals, the soundtrack, the gameplay, it just all kind of blends in this nice little package. And you know, if it's really something you like, it's something you'll really learn to love, I think. I got cats fighting in the background, but I think we can get through this. Then eventually I got an Xbox 360. I was at a used game store and I saw the combo disc and I bought it, and here's where we're at, and I'm pretty sure I own like 4 more copies of it at this point. But yeah, obviously I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Jet Set Radio Future. It's a series that's influenced me since I was very, very young child. And, you know, if it wasn't for the combo disc version, I may not have ever played it, which is crazy to think about. Just like a random marketing decision by some random executive at Microsoft in partnership with SEGA brought me to here. Like, I wouldn't have met any of the people that I know now in the community. I wouldn't have met some of my really close friends that I now know and that I've experienced lots with over the years. So I guess I have a lot to thank Jet Set Radio Future for in general. So yeah, I mean, if I had to sum it all up, I love JSRF. That's pretty much it. Thanks. See ya.
This game is so fucking awesome! Just listen to this!
Hi, my name is Kiana B. I'm an illustrator and longtime Jet Set Radio fan. To me, Jet Set Radio is way more than a game. I have been a fan since around 2012, and even though that's long after the release of Jet Set Radio Future, I feel like I've been here forever. Jet Set Radio has inspired both my art style and the music I choose to listen to on a regular basis. I love the bold graphics. Even though they were limited by 2002's technology, the art style is timeless. I love the integration of hip-hop music and graffiti culture, and I love the character designs most of all. I've also met so many amazing people in this community that I now consider lifelong friends. Jet Set Radio means the world to me. I'm very excited about the 20th anniversary of Jet Set Radio Future, and I can't wait to see what wonderful projects everyone has in store for this occasion. Thanks to Rising Sonic for putting this all together.
I want to give a shout out to VeraFX. They are a 3D artist and they are making a 3D animated short about how Beast started the GGs, and it's called Jet Set Radio Revolution. Okay, first off,
That's OD.
second, I think it's such a cool concept to see. I haven't even seen the Jet Set Radio fanfic community write something like this. They even have an album to go along with their fan film, so I'm actually really excited to see how this all turns out. They've been kind enough to give me a preview of what the animation looked like, so here, check it out.
Ready to fall.
This is Tokyo-to. It's made of 3 districts. Bintan-cho, the city of skyscrapers and neon lights. Kogane-cho, slums, factories, and a huge sewage plant. Shibuya-cho, the city of daylight, the suburbs, also my home. Tokyo-to is more quiet than usual. Today is the annual address. It's a stupid reminder of the peaceful society, created by sacrificing our freedoms. The address is held by local police at all Tokyo-to's districts. Captain Onishima is assigned to creative control over Shibuya-cho. And he's a special guest at our school today.
Good morning. I am Captain Onishima. Today, Tokyo-to is a better place than it was before Rokaku Law. We now know that self-expression and chaos are one in the same. Order is the key to peace.
I can't wait to see how this all comes together, so please give them a follow, check out their work, and show them some love.
Alright, so, starting with you, Nakota, who has been coming out with banners left and right since I met you. When did you find the Jet Set Radio community, on the internet? When did you find out that, there was groups of people talking together on forums or on chat boards, on Discord and stuff?
Well, to go through that, I should probably mention how I found Jet Set Radio in the first place. So, unlike most people, I didn't grow up when Jet Set Radio was at its largest or when the games were actually out. So by the time I had gotten into the community, the game had long been off the market. I actually found the game because of that Sonic racing game, Sonic All-Stars. They had a few Jet Set Radio tracks.
They had a
and I just fell in love with everything about it, the atmosphere, music, everything. So from then it became just this really long search for any way to play the game. And then I came across Screen Racer's Jet Set Radio multiplayer project.
Excellent.
And that's how I discovered the Discord server. And from there, that's when I really started to meet more people that were in the Jet Set community.
I feel like that project did a lot of favors for bringing in people to the community, because that really made it accessible, and it's a good game.
Such a huge service to the community, and the fact that it's just download and run, you don't go through Steam, and the fact that it's free is astounding.
Yeah, no kidding. And so were you making music before all this, or was it that you found Jet Set Radio and was inspired by that?
I think a lot of the influence from my music comes not just from Jet Set Radio, but the fact that I was already into music that sounded like Jet Set Radio beforehand. That's why I fell in love with it.
I feel like anyone who's gonna like Jet Set Radio knows they love it the second they see it.
You can imagine how I feel when I find this game and this, that just revolves around stuff that I already absolutely love. Graffiti, urban environments, heavy electronic music.
Yeah.
I just fell in love with that. Keep Jet Set Radio alive. We don't got many games like this left.
Yeah, it ain't dying, and the only reason of that is because we're all trying.
Speaking of Jet Set Radio Future multiplayer, I have to give a shout out to Screen Racer. I've seen so many people in the community talk about this game and how amazing it is, and I just recently got a chance to play it for myself, and it just filled a void inside of me. I've been playing it non-stop, and it just feels great having something like this for free. It's amazing, and this is how a lot of people in the community has gotten together, is because of this game. So Screen Racer deserves a lot of praise and a lot of thanks for creating such a wonderful game. So thank you. Please check out Jet Set Radio Future multiplayer. If you're a big fan of Jet Set Radio, you are going to love this game.
Now, when I've actually fallen in love with Jet Set Radio and community and shit, that's after I started making music.
When was it that it started to move towards sort of the more Jet Set sound, and people from the community started to listen to your music more?
Hey, so Yeah, I was playing Jet Set Radio. I was like, holy shit, this music is awesome. And so I was like, I was already trying to do different styles of music. I don't like to limit myself to one style.
I feel that.
So I was like, hey, why don't I try and make a Jet Set Radio style? So I picked up Skip to My Loops. I saw that around because it's the most iconic Jet Set Radio sample library, I feel. So I picked that up and I was like, I gotta make something with this. And I made a track called Getting Hot. And then I got into it. Fucking love it. It's a great style.
It's a fantastic style.
It's influenced my production technique very much.
Would you say Jet Set is still your biggest influence, or?
I would say yes, very much. It's a style that I enjoy making. It's a style that I'm comfortable with. I can just revert to when I have nothing else.
It's got this element of fun, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's now been 20 years since Jet Set Radio Future.
Oh. And that's longer than I've been alive.
From your point of view now, though, how strong would you say the Jet Set Radio community is, and how do you think it's moving towards for the future?
I think it's just getting way more popular. The art is astounding. I've been seeing a lot of that shit on Twitter. It's great.
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't used to see that like 10 years ago when I was looking up Jet Set Radio stuff.
I feel like I hardly had anyone I knew in school when I was a kid who knew what Jet Set Radio was. But in the last few years, I keep seeing it just everywhere on the internet, and that's been making me real happy. It feels like it's more popular, kind of globally than it's ever been. Do you have any closing statements for us, Visualizer?
Oh, yes. Keep on rocking in the free world, and doop-doodle-loop-doop.
Doop-doop. Hell yeah, man.
This shout out goes out to Jet Set Radio Archives, a gang of rudies that come together to archive lost, misplaced, and obscure Jet Set Radio media. This Twitter is amazing. I have seen so many things that I didn't even know existed back then. Hell, I was still a toddler, so I wouldn't know this stuff existed if it wasn't for these guys. From magazines, merchandise, events, beta stuff in both games, these guys uncovered so many incredible things that I wouldn't have known about if it wasn't for their hard work. So they deserve your thanks. They've worked so hard putting this all together for the community, and I just can't thank them enough for it. I also want to give a shout out to some members of the community who have been working hard to create a brand new and better Jet Set Radio wiki. So Super Idol 10, Dead2, Wint, Rat Attack, Sunset, the archive server. Thank you all for making this happen, and I can't wait to see how the new wiki comes out. I even took some part of it, and I'm happy they let me do that.
This is Videl Gabriel, who has been making Jet Set music for how long now?
And I think it would have been, I'm making music for a long time, but Jet Set music specifically would have been the last, I think, 4 or 5 years.
Okay, wow. And so were you doing music before that, or was Jet Set sort of the inciting spark for you?
I've been doing music for I've been doing music for like 12 years now, and I've always had a thing for video game music, and Jet Set Radio was one of the games I used to play all the time growing up, so it just kind of made sense,
What would you say Jet Set is still one of your biggest influences in your music now?
Oh, certainly. Like before I really got into music, I really wasn't like hip to who composers and producers were, but like even as a Sonic fan, like what hooks me is the music. So like if the music's good, you'll likely have me as a fan, even if the game is total trash. but Hideki Naganuma, Richard Jot, Toronto, all the guys who helped out with the soundtrack, they made some great stuff, and even if some of it's not stuff I would listen to normally, it's still good that like I get hooked on it. And so that's what makes Jet Set Radio unique, at least to me.
Yeah, no, for sure. It was a game that had regular music playing on a radio, kind of like a Tony Hawk game, but it wasn't just this one mood. It was such a wide variety of sounds that somehow still all hit the same vibe. And I really respect just how many kinds of sounds there are from the soundtracks. I think anyone listening to this can agree. Of course, the soundtracks, the Jet Set games, were wonderful. But what about the future?
They are still wonderful.
They are still, but they are also already released and in the past. Looking at the future, what do you think the future of Jet Set Radio and the community is after 20 years since the release of Jet Set Radio Future? Like, where are we at now and going forward?
I think there's always gonna be a culture for Jet Set Radio because it hits a lot of cultures that are still kind of underserved, like the skater culture, the hip hop culture, like pure hip hop. I'm talking like the breakdancing, the graffiti, and all the classic elements that seem that like virtually forgotten now. On top of that, there's still a market out there for like extreme sports games in a way. Like you got Bomb Rush, Cyberpunk taking the mantle. You got a bunch of other Jet Set Radio inspired games that explicitly cite Jet Set Radio as their influence also coming up as well. It's not even just the games though, like there's the music, like there's people who's making Jet Set Radio inspired music just for their own stuff. I'm not just talking tribute albums, I'm talking about regular ass music. Like guys like Just Blaze, who are mainstream producers, were influenced by Jet Set Radio and stuff like that. That Djs Shadow here and myself, we be influenced by the game and its sounds.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're sitting here in a pretty community of 40 people who are all based around Jet Set Radio style music and making it. There's a lot of people that recognize just how perfect and beautiful the music is. Well, Videl, I don't have any more questions for you, so do you have anything else you'd like to close off your segment with?
I ain't got much else to say, but just keep playing Jet Set Radio, keep being inspired by the music, the sounds, the graffiti, and everything.
This shout out goes out to a special friend of mine, Rudy Queen. She's a big not safe for work artist in the community. She's been making some really cool Jet Set Radio merch, like this one with all the original GG ladies showing their eyes. I got it as a hoodie, and I even got it as a cool graphic t-shirt. It even comes with this gradient color variant. There's also this amazing panty and stocking inspired piece featuring Gum and Mew.
She also made these high quality stuff right here.
I've commissioned her quite a few times, and I've loved everything that she's done for me. I adore her work, and she's only getting better. I highly recommend you check out her stuff and show her some love on her art. She does a lot of 18 plus stuff, so viewer discretion advised. And this is a personal thank you to her from me, since she was my first closest friend when I first joined the community. And I'm glad I've met her.
This man hardly needs any introduction at all. Djs Shadow has been a decently big name around these parts for years. Releasing, my goodness, how many Jet Set Radio albums at this point?
Shit.
I know I own at least 3 of them.
Let's see. It started off with 99th Street Bounce, then it went from that to Boogie Down Bantam, then to Boogie Down Bantam to 2 off singles, Crush Cube and Ride the Wave, and then now Tokyo After Hours. It's been a while actually, and honestly, I didn't expect my music to really take a wide variety, like a wide left turn from where I was going to reaching a big audience of people.
Deep roots, huh?
Yeah, and it's funny, I didn't really play Jet Set Radio when I was younger. I mean, I knew about it, and I said it to FalseProof at the time. I was like, yeah, we had it for the original Xbox. I just never played it. But it wasn't until around 2014 that I actually listened to the music because of the mashups that I was hearing back in the day, and I was like, ooh, I like how this music sounds. And that's when I really started, like, you know, experimenting with Hideki's style, and yeah.
Hey, you know what? It almost makes your love for the game and the music even more pure, because you can say for certain it's not nostalgia.
No, definitely at this point, like, 99 Street Bounce was kind of nostalgic, because it was me trying out new stuff, but the more I actually started making albums and making music, like, based off of the game, the nostalgia kind of left, and I was like, okay, this is something that I just thoroughly enjoy doing. With Tokyo To After Hours, right, I kind of pieced it all together, and when I finished it, I was like, yeah, I want this album to be my last hurrah for tribute albums to Jet Set Radio. I'm not gonna stop making Jet Set Radio music.
No, you're still part of the Jet Set community overall, but it's not your focus in life anymore.
Yeah, but technically my last album will be Tokyo To After Hours until I can get it in one of the JSR video games.
Well, it's been a good past, it's a good present, and it's a good future. We got a lot of things to look forward to, but the rest of this interview is not one of them. Do you have any closing remarks?
Well, I could always have something to say to keep the conversation going, but to keep it short and simple, everybody who's a fan of Jet Set Radio, don't let the series die off. And closing notes from me, I love each and every one of you guys. I want y'all to know about that. You know, even though I'm not going to be making music for much longer, I'm still going to be around in the community, still being supportive, and as best as I can, being there for everybody at the end of the day.
I wouldn't have known a lot of the people in the Jet Set Radio music community if it wasn't for Too Mellow and discovering his Memories of Tokyo To album, which I still think is really fantastic. So quick shout outs to him, and thank you to all the DJs who participated in this video, and to everyone else. If you're just a lover of music, man, please check out their work. They make some great stuff, not just Set Radio, but they just make some amazing music. And to Meryl of Space Base Supernatural, thank you so much for having these interviews with all the other DJs. It really means a lot, and you've been a big help in making this project happen, so thank you so much.
Hello everyone, I'm that awesome Jet Set Radio Facts account on Twitter. I was pretty late on giving Rising Sonic this statement, so thanks a ton to him for letting me squeeze this in. Jet Set Radio Future is one of those games that will leave an everlasting impression on you. Despite the series not having a new game in over 20 years, there's a reason why it still has an active fan base online. From its exciting gameplay, amazing music, awesome characters, and fantastic art style, Jet Set Radio Future shows us the creative and adventurous side of SEGA that we haven't seen in a long time. Jet Set Radio Future took risks by being an early open world game, and luckily, it succeeded. At the game's release, it was met with overwhelmingly positive reviews, which makes it even more jarring that SEGA hasn't shown any interest in making a new game in the series. All we can do is hope SEGA will eventually bring it back with a sequel or a port of Future. Until then, at least we have Bomb Rush Cyberfunk to look forward to. Thanks again, Rising Sonic, for having me on. I really love Jet Set Radio, and I really love Jet Set Radio Future, so it meant a lot that I was able to be in this video. Happy birthday, Jet Set Radio Future. Let's hope one day we see you again in the future.
So my first experience with the Jet Set Radio franchise, specifically Jet Set Radio Future, comes from when I was 10 and when I played Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing for the first time. The game had Beat as a playable racer, plus some of the areas from JSRF became racetracks in the game, as well as some of the songs from JSRF made it into All-Stars Racing. When I played All-Stars Racing at the time, I fell in love with the soundtrack. I then decided later on, not until I was 14, that I would decide to buy an original Xbox just so I could finally play Jet Set Radio Future. It was an awesome game. Everything from the art style, to the characters, to the soundtrack, to the rush of just performing tricks while skating down rails. It was awesome. It was just an amazing, superb experience. I love it. I thought it was the coolest video game ever, and I still think it is to this day. I'm 20 now, and I was only 6 months old when JSRF came out, and I'm glad to celebrate its 20th anniversary this year.
Now I have a bunch of people from the community who have sent me text pieces that they would like me to read for them. And there's a hefty amount of them, so I'm going to try and get through these as smoothly as possible. So here we go. This one is from Spin Dasher 2008. I love this game, and it means so much to me because from a person who wasn't born during the time that Jet Set Radio Future was based on, it's a time capsule of sorts and a view into that funky, bouncy era. The OST shaped my taste and got me into loving Hideki Naganuma's tracks, and it was the game that introduced me to the world of SEGA. If it wasn't for this game or Sonic, I wouldn't have known about SEGA's history with consoles, their characters, and that creative drive that they once had. I played this game first and I had no idea about the original Dreamcast version nor the GBA port until I looked it up and found gameplay videos and its OSTs as well. It was the game that got me into loving to draw since I drew these characters all the time. So I want to say thanks to this game to introducing me to a decade where the music was funky as hell and for introducing me to SEGA. Happy 20th anniversary Jet Set Radio Future. Keep on understanding the concept of love and keep being a funky dealer. This one is from Ericourse Pliskin, who is one of the admins of the Jet Set Radio Portugal account. Jet Set Radio has been some kind of mentor for me growing up. It showed me the awesome music that it contains and, first of all, politics. The references are so subtle yet so good. It actually shows how Japanese government deals with punks who oppose them. Jet Set Radio is another world. It completely changed me to become the person I am today. Myself. Nondoc says, Jet Set Radio Future is my favorite video game ever. From its visuals to the music, I love it. It completely switched up my likes and tastes in music and design. I wish there was an alternate universe where it's one of the best-selling games of all time, because that's what it deserves. It's a unique universe that should be alive till the future. Josh Cool 125 says, besides Jet Set Radio being a pretty awesome game, it also has a pretty great community behind it. There's the casual fans, the artists, the cosplayers, the fanfic writers, the musicians, and many, many more amazing people in the community. And I have to say, the community helped me find some of the most amazing people that I'm happy to call my best friends. Rudy Queen, Rosie RG, Zero B 2004, and two other great amazing people that would like to remain anonymous. He even mentioned me, so thanks man, I'm happy I'm one of your best friends as well.
Whew. So, that was a lot. But as you can see, we still have a pretty large amount of people who are still affected and inspired by Jet Set Radio Future. And the franchise has done so much for us, and it's made us the people we are today. And I'm confident that by the time Jet Set Radio Future turns 25 or 30, we're still going to remember it fondly because it means that much to us. And I just have a few more things to say. I'm kind of bad with words and I have a lot on my mind, so I'm going to try and keep it brief. To the Jet Set Radio community, thank you. Like from the bottom of my heart, thank you. This wouldn't have been possible without you. You know, I wanted to do something special for Jet Set Radio's 20th anniversary, and I also wanted to do something for the community ever since you guys welcomed me here. And when I first made that initial post back in January, I thought it wasn't going to get much traction, but it did. And it was amazing to see so many people wanted to take part in something like this, and that really inspired me to really make this the best it can be, and to just show my appreciation to all of you, and that you guys have been the heart and soul of Jet Set Radio, and you guys been keeping it alive and in people's minds still to this day. And this is not the time to be tearing up right now. I just want to say I really appreciate you all, and just thank you. You really made me break out of my shell a little doing this video, and just keep on being yourselves, man. You know, this is the game that brought us all together, the franchise that brought us all together. Musicians, writers, artists, you know, we all came together because we love Jet Set Radio, you know, and let's just continue supporting this franchise, you know. Even though we're forgotten, you know, we're still gonna be here because we're still the heart of Jet Set Radio. So I have to tell you all once again, thank you so much, and happy 20th anniversary, Jet Set Radio Future. Hey, SEGA, we still love your franchise, by the way, and no matter what, we're still gonna scream and shout about it. And you could try and silence us and hope we forget, but it's not gonna work. We're rudies for a reason. And hey, Professor K said it himself. The streets don't wait for nobody.